Should I?
Recording is already on.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this new session of Thoth. So let's see what topics we have for today. So the first one is um, something I added a few minutes ago because I just noticed that. And basically, I realized that there are many solvers failing in stage, and those are failing because we are trying to solve packages that do not exist on certain indices. And then I went to dig a bit, and this seems like because we check the Python package version entity table to get the list of package names, and then we don't filter by index. And that means that we are scheduling all kind of packages, even for the torch index, where in theory there are only 4 packages there. And so I opened the issue and I was trying to think about a solution. And yeah, I put it here because I'm not 100% sure how we can do that. Or I mean, at least I know that we have to move this logic to the index, to the inside the package release part, and take into account the index. But there is a problem. So I thought if we move it to consider the Python package version table, which is the one that actually has the packages that are solved for certain indexes, so they actually exist, then this might slow down a bit how we solve the things, because when we store solvers, we basically store name and version, but not index for the transitive dependencies. It means that they are not scheduled if we don't consider this table, the Python package version entity. So if we consider Python package version, we are basically missing those. And those would basically be solved only when someone asks for an advice, and advisor would fail because transitive dependencies are not solved, and that would schedule the solver. So yeah, that was my thoughts. What do you think? And yeah, I think we need a solution for this. Also, if I'm correct, Frido, what do you think? First, because I think there is an issue, right?
So the fact that we are scheduling packages that do not exist on indices, that's an issue. This was probably introduced recently with the release rewrite, so worth to check it. But the described issue with transitive dependencies should not be present, because how this logic works, package releases job checks every package that is present in Python package version entity table. And what it should check that the given package exists on index, and it should list all the versions that are available on some specific index. And it should schedule a solver. And as these loops, uh, so solver is scheduled. Once solver finishes, packages are synced into the database, and there are created corresponding entries in Python package version entity table that are now transitive dependencies of the given package. So that means that if this loop goes again and again and again, then we should analyze all dependencies that are required either directly or transitively in user stacks. So now the question is why there are not, or they are considered indices or releases that do not exist on these
Because
releases.
I think it's because there is the only package seen flag, and is set to true by default. And we check the packages on the index only if that is false. I mean, at least that is what we have in package release. And I mean, I understand the reason why we want the true, but in this case, basically we are scheduling everything because we use the default, which is the list of packages that we take from um, the Python package version entity table. Should we just put that flag off, or it's not efficient?
That previously, that's basically the loop we are doing. We are checking what's present in the database, schedule solvers, seeing results into database. Now there is that flag only if package is seen, and that can be configured per index. That means if we have two indices, let's say one is PyPI and the other one is PyTorch index, then this only if package is seen distinguishes which packages we want to monitor on these indices. If it is set to true on PyTorch index, it means any package that is released on PyTorch index will be analyzed. It's also handy in internal use case when we monitor the pulp instance. And on the other hand, we do not want to analyze all packages that are published on PyPI. That's why this flag is turned on PyPI, only if package is seen. Yeah, we have a question.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally understand. But then, but if I put that off, then then the logic is going to check on the index, no more on our database.
Mm.
So do we have an endpoint to modify those stuff? Like if we want to turn on, turn off, or that would be the thing to do?
The flag can be turned on and off on management API. There is
Okay.
an endpoint for that. But I'm not sure, like the current configuration should work. So if we are scheduling packages that are not available on PyTorch index, then there's an issue in package releases job. So we should check.
So yeah, the only thing I see is that we schedule only if there is that check, if that only package seen is false. So at the moment it's never done. So at the moment we use only packages from the table we have, which means that for each index, no matter what index, we schedule everything. So including packages that do not exist, maybe.
So the Python package version entity, doesn't it have a key for the index? Why don't we just join?
Because that is meant to be everything. Everything not no can be everything, even just a package name, only a package name version. And then we are the one that, I mean, we want to make sure that what we have in Python package version is with all the three, so version, name, and index. But on entity can be everything. So we need to have a way to distinguish the two.
On entity, you can have the only required string on entity is package name. So you can have version or index URL none. But the thing here is that we want to monitor all releases that are all packages that are published on PyTorch, right? So the truth of package names is not the database, but the index itself. So if index publishes package foo, and that package foo was never seen in Thoth's database, we still want to analyze it. So there's probably then that bug. I would need to check sources.
Okay. Okay, but otherwise I thought like just to change that flag would solve basically.
But we'll not do that monitoring properly. Like if there is a new package on PyTorch, we want to have it analyzed. The same for pulp instance that is deployed.
Yeah, but that is basically turning off the. How is the logic in package release? If you turn off it should have a look at the indices.
So maybe you're sharing the screen.
Yes. So just here basically. So these are the package names we take by default. And then here we just check. So we use the one for by default if this is true.
So if we do not want to analyze only packages that are seen into the database, then we explicitly on line 237 ask for package names available on the given index. In this case, it will be the PyTorch index, and these packages should be analyzed.
Okay. Okay, but I'm confused about the logic then.
Yeah. Let's check sources. Can we consider it?
Okay. Do you check and we move ahead, or do we want to do it now?
Yeah. Let's move ahead. Is the logic clear? Like how it works to the group?
Sorry?
Is the logic clear? Like how this works? How the desired functionality should work? So if flag only if package is seen is set to true, the source of package names is Thoth's database. If the flag only if package is seen is set to false, the listing of package names that should be analyzed is taken from the index, everything that is available on the index. So we want only if package is seen set to true on PyPI, and other Python package indices should have this index set, this flag set to false.
Why don't we just change it so that the call is in that for loop so that you can get the list for each package index rather than for the whole graph database. So like you can filter on the index in that loop.
That's the thing you asked, I think, that we don't have the index on that table. So
Python package
version entity, you might filter for packages that basically do not have index. So we are basically filtering out packages. Because if you imagine that the first loop of solver solves package A and then package B, C, D, which are transitive, are not stored with the index, then basically if you try to retrieve those, you will not get it. Right? Because we filter by index, but the index is not set for those. Is it clear? Or but okay, then we will solve it offline. I mean, we just need to change the flag at this point.
If you want, I can walk you through the functionality, like what's the desired based on the code.
Yes, please.
So let me share my screen. So here is producer by right of package releases job, and we go to package releases like main function. Besides other things, we obtain all package names from the database. This uses PythonPackageVersion entity table. and obtains solely package names. So package name is a list of package names we know in Thoth. And then there is called package releases update with that listing. Now what's happening for each and every, not this one, this one. So what's happening now? We obtain all indices that are enabled and registered in Thoth. So these sources will be a listing of indices and also flag only if package is seen. And now we iterate over that. If only if package is seen is set to false, that means we obtain names from the given index. And we do release a package release update from that index and package names that the given index provides. If only if package is seen is true, then we use these package names that are obtained from Thoth's database. So it looks correct, the logic. So why there are scheduled these?
Yeah, but that is because we have true on every index. So we should turn off the index for PyTorch. In that way, we should receive only the 3 packages that are on that index.
But that also means that we need to check if there's present that release on the given index. Okay. So here we have package versions. Okay, that sounds good. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Frido. Let's move to the next topic. It is another thing I noticed while having a look at the database. So I realized that for certain indices, we are talking about the stage database because I don't see the metrics for prod yet, but if the issue is stage, maybe we have it also in prod. So from this index, which is the one for TensorFlow from Thoth, we should have only 3 packages. These are the 3 packages available. But if you get a look at what is in the database, and maybe I can show you here, we have way more packages than we should have. So sorry, Python package index 2. And as you see, there are like, okay, these are versions, but if you filter, like, you will see that there are around 900 packages. Oh, no, actually it's here, sorry. If you have a look at the dashboard for the content, and you go to the packages per indices, which is here, you see that for this index, we should have only 3 packages, but here there are like 919, which is not correct. So I was thinking or trying to understand where this come from, because there should not be those packages available, right?
So I did see the is missing. Was the is missing label set to true or false in the database?
Let me go to database. This one is missing.
False. Never mind.
Is this related to the first issue? Because if we trigger solving a package that is not existing, we sync information to the database.
That's what I thought, but then all these solvers should not fail. Apart from the image pool issue that is still there. But if you see some of these they are failing because solver is not able to find them. So this is exactly the same issue, but then this should be stored in database.
Well, but 900 is way less than the number of. I mean, maybe Spacey is not in. It's not one of the 900. Maybe.
No, I mean there should be only 3 packages on that
Right.
list.
Yeah. But I mean,
even if we
it could still. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was just saying. So Frida was asking, could this be related to the previous issue? And I said, and you said that maybe that probably not, because the issue wouldn't happen if the packages were here. But what I'm saying is that the number of those 900 packages in the PyTorch or associated to the PyTorch index are way less than.
These are not on PyTorch. These are on our index. So this is our index. And as you see, we have only 3 packages.
Yeah, sure. Well, sorry. Yeah. But you have 900. But this solver was failing to solve the spicy package, which may not be one of those 900.
No. Okay, this is for PyTorch. Yes, you're right. But this is the first problem. So we are scheduling. Well, we are using resources that we should not use because those do not exist and doesn't make sense to schedule them. But here is more syncing logic, maybe, because might be that we solve them. I mean, those are all transitive dependencies of TensorFlow, I assume. And either we are syncing them in the wrong way, or I don't know, because if they do not exist on that index, they should not be able to be, or as Frido mentioned, the solver sync them even if they failed. Maybe I should check the error, if there is an error.
So solver produces output even if it fails. So and that output is synced into database. The problem here, why is missing is set of false, might be the exception. You see, it's client error.
Yes.
Forbidden. And we are catching, if I'm not mistaken, not found. 404, and this is 403. So they report different HTTP status code, and that's why we do not provide that is missing flag. So that's one thing that should be fixed, and the fact that this is for PyTorch index, we should be able to see the same issue on our index, right? We shouldn't be scheduling packages that are not present on our index, and also PyTorch index. The logic will be basically the same because they have the same configuration.
So is it a problem of how we set the index?
It's probably an issue in that package releases job, that we are really triggering analysis or solving of packages that do not exist. If we fix that, then the pod or solver failure that you show will not exist.
Okay.
And we will not sync anything because nothing will be triggered.
Yeah, so for this, we should just remove everything related to this index, and those will be re-triggered in any case. It's not a lot of versions.
But first fix the issue, because otherwise they will be again populated, created the same.
Okay, then I guess we can link this with the other. Okay, then let's do this and then see if this solved everything.
So we have 2 actions to these 2 items. The first one is fix issue in package releases job. like find why it's scheduling the release, scheduling the solver, and the other one is clean the database from these entries.
Why don't we just use the Python package version for seeing instead of the Python package version entity and getting the names? Why don't we just use Python package version and then filter for index? I still don't understand why we're scheduling things for indexes when we don't know if it's going to be there. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So Python package version stores records of packages that were already solved.
Yeah, but we can get a set of the package names that are available on the index. So like instead of just going through the Python package version entity and just getting a list of all package names, we can use the Python package version table and get packages which have only been seen on that index for seen packages.
It's broader problem. So if you ask for an advice using authenticating workflow, and you send us your requirements, and in your requirements you have TensorFlow, and we haven't solved TensorFlow yet. We create record. Kevin wanted to resolve TensorFlow, but we don't know from which index, right? We do cross-index resolution. So that means package release's job is responsible to take that TensorFlow and check which index provides TensorFlow packages, or which indices provide TensorFlow packages. They can be different builds. So your request is synced into Python package version entity table, and Python package release's job is responsible for scheduling solvers, which results are synced into Python package version table. Is that clear?
Basically,
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, we basically lose the knowledge in that way if we move to the other table.
Is it clear, Kevin?
Yeah, it's clear. It's still. It doesn't seem like a great solution. I'm just thinking through it. So, like the reasoning makes sense, but yeah.
Okay, feel free to propose some solution.
Thank you. Next topic. So we moved it last time to this. I don't know if we want to do it today as well. We still have time, but it's basically the next steps for Tjelgen on what to do, because he started a PR, but maybe we can just improve this. And actually the question would be, as it is a needs information thing, if we want to do it here or we do it next week in refinement session. What do you think? I mean, it's for everyone, but this would help Tjelgen. So no one say anything. I assume it's a yes. Let's do it. So for who didn't know what Tjelgen did, Tjelgen introduced a new endpoint on user API as part of his intern project. And basically now with the knowledge we have collected from the solvers, we can expose this knowledge. And if before we could not say that sklearn comes from scikit-learn, for example, now we can say that. So we can say that when Invectio runs and tells you identified sklearn and this kind of imports, we could not match before what was the actual package name from PyPy, but now we can because we have this knowledge. And the extension of the project that it did was basically to use this knowledge to do two things. And we thought about having this here, because Alfredo suggested to do it here because it's there is all the logic to talk to the user API, so it makes sense to have it here. And basically, you can do something like thamos discover. So you could have a look, I don't know, at the files in certain at your files and identify the packages from the imports. And this would be used in Jupyter Lab requirements and maybe also in a KBChat manager. So we thought that sometimes you have also libraries that you do not use in your project. So the bot could also check the files in your project and say, okay, you have a pip file, but the actual pip file is this one. So we could remove one of the packages because you actually don't use it. And this would be the extension. So that's a little bit the description of what we want to do. So here would be basically, I think Frido commented already in the pull request of what would be the next steps. So maybe we can describe it in the issue. So for him also to finish this part. Yeah, Frido, do you want to mention those two commands? Also the what provides? What do you think?
So the first step could be to create that thamos whatprovides command. That will be basically an extension to Invectio's whatprovides. So as you said, Invectio detects that you import a sklearn, but it doesn't know from which package that import corresponds to. So whatprovides could query thamos whatprovides, could obtain information about imports from sources, and ask Thoth which packages provide that information, these imports.
Sorry, I missed one thing. So what provides is the one that actually talk to that endpoint.
Mhm.
And okay, and then discover on top of it would use Invectio libraries, take the output, and then use this other command.
It
Okay.
will use this command.
Yes.
So in whatprovides, you can say thamos whatprovides a sklearn. And the output should be a list of packages, their versions, and index, the indices that provide the given package. So if I'm a developer and I want to use, I don't know, mini-batch from scikit-learn, then I can ask which packages provide that sklearn mini-batch. And the output should give me this package in version 1.3 from index.py, another package in version 10.11.5 from PyTorch index and things like that. So this what provides is more developer-centric. It's a feature for developers.
Yes, and so when you say list of packages, so if we have all the version of scikit-learn, it will return all of them. Okay.
If they provide the given import.
Yes.
The given model.
So
It's basically querying the API endpoint that Cleargen created. maybe extend the SQL query so you can specify the query prefix, right? So I'm interested in sklearn dot KNN module if such exists, and I do not care about other submodules that are in that module.
Okay.
Then the other command will basically build on top of this one.
And also the thamos requirements logic, right? Do we want the output of discover to be exactly a PIC file? Or just the list of packages?
PIC file.
Okay.
So if I'm new to project, I run thamos discover, and thamos automatically sets up requirements for me.
I think this should be good. And oh, okay, that's everything, unless anyone wants to add anything. Otherwise, we move to the next topic. Thanks, Frido. So, Kevin, sending messages and then graph sync. There is a race condition. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is something that we talked about last time. We talked about wanting to wait until after we send the messages to sync to the database. But some of the messages we send kick off workflows that assume that we have new database contents. So like if we just solved a new package, then it can kick off the Kebashet internal workflow, which assumes that the new package is there to be consumed. So if we wait for the message to be sent and then sync, it could introduce a race condition.
Any model that race condition, because it's not clear, like for a specific scenario, it's not clear to me when such a race condition can happen.
So if we have a new package release, and we can like we kick off the package release, and then the package is solved. After the package is solved, we send an internal trigger for a Kebashet workflow, and then after that message is sent, then we sync to the database. We sync the solver results to the database. So if we do it in that order, it's fine because, or sorry, in the other order. So if we graph sync and then send messages, it's fine because when Kebashet runs, the database will be updated with the new information. But if we send the message before syncing, then Kebashet could start before the actual data gets synced to the database.
And this is the order?
So right now the order is to send messages after the sync. So there is no race condition. But last time we talked about wanting to fail the workflow if messages fail to send or something, which would require us to invert the steps.
Okay. Okay, let's model this. I assume that these will happen like very occasionally, because the overhead of sending message, like queuing on Kafka, then consuming the message will be much larger than just writing the content to database once the message is published, right?
That was my thought. So I don't think it should matter, but I just wanted to bring it up. So I think it should be fine. But I just wanted us to know that it's there in case we run into issues. So I just bring it up.
It's good to know this. Let's see if that pops up. Because really, after the message is published, then it's a single write to database. But the message is queued on Kafka and then consumed. It needs to be acknowledged and things like that. It's time-wise, it's much larger overhead than writing to database.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Frido. If no one has other comments, let's move ahead. So Maya, you open an issue.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So that was something I was talking about with Francesco just a moment ago. So I was completing the tutorial on the management of dependencies on Jupyter notebooks, and I noticed that the last step of the tutorial couldn't be completed properly because when I asked to Kebeshet to release a new version of the tutorial on my branch, it didn't work. So maybe, Francesco, you have a broader idea of what that means, but just notice this.
So actually, I mean, this is good that you brought up this topic, because I'm also confused. If there is we say that when you install Kboot, you don't need any invite on Sesheta, right? Can we confirm that? Okay, so if Maya install Kboot, then she does not need to ask for the invite. So if she open a release and everything is set, .yaml file, AICOE YAML file, everything, I mean, even though we're not on the AICOE CI part. So if she just open the issue, then we should get that webhook.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I also open a few releases and then maybe I realized that there is some issue. But I just wanted to ask to confirm that the invite to Sesheta is only needed for the AICOE CI, right?
Yes. So what I've seen is I checked on the deployment. It seems to be functioning like all the requests are coming in, it's fulfilling it. But like if you would have asked me yesterday why it is not working, I would have had a concrete answer, because I saw that solver run happened multiple times and that blocked all the bots. And that was the reason yesterday. But today it should not have happened. And there seems to be nothing missing, but still seems to be not working. So it means the job started, but the job finished with some error, and that's what is causing. So for that particular repository, there's some error which is not able to fulfill that request, and that's what is my hunch is on. So that's what we need to retest and check on that. But from the cluster, it doesn't seem like there is any blocker or anything. Like the Kafka service is running properly. The bot is running properly. You can see other requests getting fulfilled.
Just to confirm, this is in Smaug, not AWS, or is it AWS?
So right now it's neither. It's on stage cluster, so you can check on the backend.
Okay, then okay. Because I was just checking on Smaug today, then I thought like nothing was happening. Okay. But so what we do?
Have you added Sesheta to contributors to the repository?
So for For Kebeshet, we don't need it because Kebeshet has its own credentials and it does everything on its own, like with its own credentials. So technically, no one needs to add Shashita to the contributor if they're just trying to use Kebeshet's features.
Is it new release feature? Release?
The Kebeshet one? No, it's been from a while.
If I understood correctly, Maya opened an issue, like set up Kebeshet and opened issue new whatever release. That sends webhook to our backend. The Kebeshet is run. It clones the repo and wants to open a pull request. But if Kebeshet wants to open a pull request, then it needs to be, if that logic hasn't changed, it needs to be a contributor because it creates a new branch on Maya's repository. Is that correct?
That is correct, but what I remember is last year we changed the configuration to have Kebeshet bot itself has their credentials, and whenever user creates or whenever user installs the Kebeshet on a repository, it itself gives the permission to the bot to create or manage the repository. So if the bot is trying to create a pull request or create a branch in that repository, it has the permission. It doesn't need Shashita's credential for it. So it should have, and it should be able to manage on its own.
Okay.
I mean, it's more on like what's happening with this particular workflow is something we need to look at. I saw yesterday someone else also commented that their workflow did not finish, and I can assure why it did not finish because I saw solver populating everything or taking all of the resources. So there was this solver update coming up and it was refreshing after every minute. So every minute it created a new pod and that took all the resources. But today I'm not sure, so I have to check on the workflow what's happening.
But isn't it Kebeshet running in another namespace, or is it cluster limit?
So I'll share my screen and
Yes,
I'll
please.
like a little explain what I mean or what is happening. So that's correct. Everything is on a different namespace. There is AICV running on a different namespace, Thoth, Kebeshet running on a different namespace. But what happens is Kebeshet runs on a push notification of a repository or any notification on a repository. So let me share the screen. So as you can see here, there are these many requests which are currently happening. And the reason why this much is because it's taken up the resources. Others can also run, but there is not enough resources. So now we need to see how many workflows are there. So if you see here, there are these many requests which haven't been fulfilled yet because they are in the queue. And that's because if you see one of them, this is still the solver running here. And so it's trying to run solver, it opens something, and then another push request comes in, it again runs the solver. Again, solver finishes, another push comes in.
Okay. Now I understand when you say solver. I thought it was like solver, like a workflow. Is the issue in solver in the one that Pep opened, right? That is
Yes,
just looping there.
Yes,
Okay.
I fixed it for AICVCI by removing solver from it. So it just functions on tag releases and solver not on a pull request check. So that will not populate anymore. But on Kebeshet, I'm not sure how to fix this. That's why I had commented on that issue. And can help me with this. What I can suggest as of now is I delete all this workflow. We just trigger the ones which our users are requiring and just see if still these problem persist. Another thing which I did yesterday was merge all the pull requests manually in Solver so that there is no more push notification. So technically it should not happen anymore. But yeah, that's about it.
So we have managers in KBHead, and these managers as of now act on issues, solve issues. Is that correct? Or do we have managers that act also on merge, pull request opened? What are the events that are consumed by KBHead managers?
The update manager will run on a merge request. Because the idea is that something has changed in the repository, so it might need to update the dependencies. It's just a regular thing that dependencies might be updated.
So is that we cannot filter all events on user API except for new issues that are created? We need also other events.
So what I understand is there are two events. There is the issue event. So there are certain actions which happen on issues, exactly like you said, the create, release, these kind of thing. But that's not the case right now. We are looking at the push notification. Why do we look at push notification is whatever in any repository, if there is a pip file log, we want to automatically suggest the automatic updates. So on each pull request or each push event, Cabbage will definitely run a pod and it will check if there is anything new to update. So it's the process of checking if there is something new to update. So there is nothing, then it will close again. But I think it's trying to push to a branch again and again, and that's creating push notification again because each event in GitHub is a push notification, irrespective of anything. Like even if it's an issue, it will also send a push notification. I mean, if I'm confusing you, I mean,
See. So the idea is to reduce these, because they are redundant. So if we can somehow reduce what is triggering KBHead, that would help. So for example, if we take information about the current master branch or something that's uniquely identified, so we can group these messages that are sent, possibly, to optimize resources.
right. I think that the issue was only on rebase. I feel like it was just creating rebases again and again, and that's the only thing. But I mean, we have to wait again to see if it creates the same thing. But it's currently running. I can clear the uh, work workflows for now, or wait for all of them to get completed so that users who have opened their requests, it will get completed at least, or else we would have to go and ask them to re-trigger it, or we ourselves have to re-trigger them.
So
Kevin,
what would? Yeah, go ahead.
can we have a mechanism on queuing side that would say if message is coming from Solver repository and there is already a message, like run KBHead on Solver repository, drop that message, because KBHead runs all managers on any event. Like grouping messages or something like that? Is it possible?
I don't think so. We could limit what we actually send to the webhook, because
Did we lose Kevin?
And we
Sorry, I need to-
lost Kevin.
I need to drop. I have another call. So someone will finish for me. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Let's finish it and let's move these topics to the final meeting. And also, let's extend the meeting to 1 hour.
Hey, sorry, I lost connection.
Bye.
So could we just limit the webhook? Could we?
Okay, let's think about solution. Let's move this topic because I have also another meeting. Let's move this topic to the next one, and let's extend this meeting to 1 hour because we have more topics up. So is it okay for everyone?
Yes. I actually have a follow-up question on this loop issue, but we can talk about it in the chat.
And we would have to ask.
If you
Sorry.
have to.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, sorry, I'm done. No, you can ask the question.
The question is, so many of those, there have been thousands of issues created on the solver because of that, and I was thinking that they kind of made sense, but I'm wondering if there is an additional issue of them, like this one that I pasted on the chat. I believe they shouldn't be open in the first place because it's a failure on reporting on this commit, but if you scroll down, it's closing itself because the issue is not relevant to the very same commit. So if this is, do you see what I mean?
Yes, this error is very suspicious because the error message says Python 3.9 is missing.
Yeah, in a standard error. Yeah.
So we should probably install Python 3.9. So Solver has multiple overlays and has multiple Python versions. There are Python 3.8, Python 3.6, if I remember correctly, and Python 3.9. So what happens is, an update for Python 3.9 environment is triggered. It fails, so it opens an issue. Then an update for Python 3.8 environment is done. That succeeds, so it closes the issue that it's no longer relevant. This is a bug in Quebec, so it should handle specifically for runtime environment. Like the closing of that issue should be specific to runtime environment to overlay on which Quebec works. Here.
Okay.
Can you still repeat the last part? Why did this close itself?
So Solver has different overlays, Python 3.9, Python 3.8. Yes. So an update of Python 3.9 environment is triggered.
Right.
It fails, so an issue is created.
And
then
3.8
an update,
and it closes this. Okay.
So the issue should be, that's something for Kevin, so we can repeat again.
Sorry.
No problem. So just to repeat quickly, Solver has multiple overlays. It has Python 3.8, Python 3.9, right? So Quebec tries to update Python 3.9 environment. It fails, so it opens an issue. Then Python 3.8 environment is updated. That succeeds, and that means the environment, the issue for Python 3.9 environment is closed, but it shouldn't. These issues are specific for runtime environment for overlays.
We should create an issue for this, right?
And we should also include Python 3.9 in the Quebec installation because we have Python 3.9 in mind.
Sounds good. I had updated the previous issue, which we had with 3.7, 3.9. I'll check, take a look at that and create this issue as well. So Kevin can take a look. If nothing else, I think we can wrap it up. Meet next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Happy hacking.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye.